Hello friend, this is Ryan Hicks of TaughtToProfit.com, and today I want to talk to you about how to overcome evil with good. There are many ways people try to overcome evil in this world, and most often they do so by enacting evil upon those perpetrating evil against them. So it becomes this fighting evil with evil mentality, and all that does is propagates evil in the world. It doesn't make the world a better place. It makes the world a more evil place where evil is attacking evil. This goes in line with something I mentioned in previous videos about in Jude, where it talks about Michael the archangel and that he durst not bring a railing accusation against the devil, but just said, "The Lord rebuke thee." Because bringing a railing accusation, speaking evil, is being evil yourself. It's enacting evil against evil. So if Michael the archangel had given a railing accusation against the devil, he would have been behaving on the devil's level. He would have been perpetrating evil against evil. And in the end, that fails. It may work temporarily. There are certainly people who are evil people who fight evil with their own evil, and it seems to work for a while. And yet we see so often what happens to these people. Their lives become shambles. Their families become a mess. Their children become wayward. They get into drugs and alcohol or serious health issues, all kinds of issues that come up because you can't keep putting evil out there and expect to get a return, a harvest of good. Whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. It's the basic law of attraction of the universe. You're putting out evil out there. You behave evil. You fight evil with evil. You try to overcome evil with evil. You're going to reap a harvest of more evil. And that's not what you want. And I understand the initial mentality might be that, well, I got to fight this. There's evil being perpetrated against me, so I have to resist. But remember, Jesus said, resist not evil. That doesn't mean you just let evil happen all over the place. What it means is you don't put up a resistance, a fight, a aggressive, offensive action. Romans 12:21 says, "Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good." See, when you're overcome with evil, that's how you act. You fight evil with evil. Somebody does you wrong, you do wrong back. That kind of mentality. But you overcome evil by doing good, by being compassionate, by trying to see the other person's perspective. Maybe they're seeing things a certain way from where they are, and they're not trying to hurt you. And you're seeing something as evil that they don't mean that way at all. And that happens so often. I can't tell you how many times people come to me and told me their sob stories, and yet I don't even know the situation as much as they do. I don't know the people involved, but hearing their side of the story, I can tell they're wrong. And I explained to them, well, have you considered that maybe this person is doing this, this, and this, and none of that has anything to do with you? And they're not trying to harm you? Well, but what about that? And you break it down, and what it was these people thought these individuals were doing something against them, and it had nothing at all to do with them. But they were so self-absorbed that they just presumed, well, this must have to do with me, because everything's about me. No, of course not. And on a lesser level, there's just many times people take offense needlessly. They see something as a slight that's not meant to be a slight. They interpret something as meant to harm you or to be evil against you, and it's not at all. But if you respond to that with evil yourself, and you're responding to something that you perceive to be evil, perceived to be a wrong against you, and it wasn't, now you're the one perpetrating evil in the world where there was no evil. In that situation, at least. Can you see how that starts falling apart when you start trying to overcome evil with evil? Because so often our perspectives are wrong, or at least a little clouded. Now, I'm not saying that you just pretend everybody's trying to do your good and everybody loves you and all this stuff. Of course not. You're going to have persecution. You're going to have people who don't like you. The world hates those who follow Jesus Christ. But you don't have to deal with those people. And you can spend most of your life going from one good situation to another good situation if you'll have the right mentality. And one of the ways to do that is by overcoming evil with good, by doing good. If you veer off that path of doing good and being compassionate and doing good unto all people, you undo the good that you have done and you start planting new seeds of evil. And you're going to reap that harvest. You're not going to get away from that. And looking at it from a different perspective, you also don't help the individual who's doing evil against you. Now you may say, well, what do I care? But see, that's the bad mentality in the first place, that you don't care about the other individual. How can you perceive that they're doing something wrong against you when you don't even have the human compassion, the love of God in your heart, to love your neighbor as yourself, to want to do good to them, to want to help them out, to want to do the things that are going to make them a better person? You'd be amazed how many people who are nasty people in general, that a little bit of kindness can go a long way with them. And I've known people who weren't very nice, who weren't very pleasant people to be around, and yet compassion toward them, not responding to their evil with evil, not to give a railing for a railing and these kind of things, but just to respond to their behavior with compassion and love, genuine compassion, genuine love, and how it changes their attitude. I know people who treat pretty much everyone poorly, but treat me well. Now, it's not some magical, special thing going on. It's because I behaved differently than anyone else ever did with them. Was when they were behaving in a poor manner, I was compassionate, I was loving. I behaved toward them as if they had acted good toward me. Now this doesn't mean, oh, well, I don't want to be a welcome mat. You're not going to be. A person that responds to evil with good is not a welcome mat. That's what people say. Well, they're going to walk all over me. They're going to stomp all. No. Because you have the power in this situation. It's like an animal that's wounded and somebody's trying to help it. It keeps biting and attacking because they don't realize someone's trying to help them. Who is the person in power in that situation? The person trying to help the weak and injured animal. And I'm not comparing these hurting people to animals, but I'm saying the situation is similar. These are hurting people. That's why they respond that way. A healthy, well-adjusted person doesn't behave poorly to other people, doesn't treat other people with disrespect, doesn't act evil toward others. But you have to understand, if your natural response is to behave evil towards somebody who's evil towards you, then you're probably one of those people that's hurting as well. And how many people have you hurt over the years, not even realizing it, because you just think, well, they just got to understand me and know how I am. As you go about your day, I want you to really consider when someone does something that you find as a slight or something evil even, how can you respond in a way that would be good? How can you respond in a way that holds you to a high standard of following peace with all men and holiness? How can you hold yourself to the highest standard and expect excellence from yourself as a person of good character? It doesn't matter if everyone else is doing something different. Everyone else responds to evil with evil. Can you respond with good? Can you be that unique person who stands out from the crowd, the masses that just follow along with the world and the world's way of doing things? And instead you follow peace. Instead you do good. You respond with goodness and kindness and compassion and empathy. You do things from a heart filled with love for your fellow person. You don't do things out of anger. You don't do things rashly. You don't do things in a haste to get back at someone. You're not trying to get vengeance. You know vengeance is of the Lord. Let Him handle that. You just respond with goodness and compassion to people, whether they're good to you or whether they're evil. You respond with goodness, kindness, and compassion. My friend, if you'll do that, your life will be radically changed. Your relationships and the issues will be radically changed. And those people who are causing problems, Many of them will go away because a big part of the interaction they're getting from you that they desire, as bizarre as it may sound, is the negative response. And if you're no longer giving them that, oftentimes that will stop it right there, because that's really all they wanted. They wanted someone to attack back. It gives them a sense of justification for being that way. There's all kinds of reasons why they do it, but I'm not going to delve into the psychological issues at hand in those individuals. But the reality is, you will, on both a psychological level in dealing with them and a metaphysical, above the physical, dealing with your own mind and the mind of God and your relationship with God, those people will just draw away from you because they're not going to be getting the evil that they wanted back in response. So when you have a situation arise where you could respond and lash out at someone, tell them what you think or whatever, tell them off or whatever the mentality is you might have right now, stop and consider, is this doing good? And in all your relationships with people and all your interactions, are you doing good? And if you're not, change that and you'll see a glorious life result. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.